If people who are sick continue to go to work and go out in public and spend time with others, they are undermining all we as a community are trying to accomplish. Our message to stay home when you're sick is for these people.
That's the latest coming from Minnesota today. The state's infectious disease director reminded residents just because COVID-19 hasn't shown up in your county doesn't mean it won't. Minnesota announced today it has 115 positive COVID-19 cases. That's 26 more cases than yesterday. Nearly 4,000 people have been tested in the state. Governor Tim Walz also announced several initiatives for helping Minnesotans cope with the pandemic, including a ban on price gouging. Also, the state will make sure critical services continue for the state's most vulnerable. There will be a special enrollment period for uninsured Minnesotans, and the state is also partnering with the YMCA to provide care for school-aged children. In North Dakota, 7 more people tested positive for COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases in the state to 26. Governor Burgum said during his daily news conference, the coronavirus is creating an economic hardship in the state. He says unemployment claims jumped from a little over 400 last week to approximately 1,600 claims yesterday. Burgum says one of his executive orders about revising regulations will help cut through the red tape and get people their unemployment checks faster. As schools prepare to resume educating your children from a distance, they're also making sure they'll be fed. Valley News Team's Mike Morgan updates us on what school districts have in place and are planning for the future.
The continuing process of providing meals to students who need them is one of the shining stars within all of this coronavirus mayhem. Moorhead Schools put this video out touting their successes.
Our food service program and transportation services team have pulled together a meal distribution plan to ensure nutritious mobile meals for our students.
To date, Moorhead has 66 drop-off locations and 5 pickup points. Thursday, 500 meals were given out. Friday, that number more than doubled to 1,224. With online learning targeted for a March 30th startup, the district says it will continue to use this distribution approach and make adjustments if need be. A similar plan exists in West Fargo and Fargo, where next week, free grab-and-go breakfasts and lunches will be provided at various sites. These meals are available for any child up to the age of 18, and in Fargo, there are additional sites available. The weekends are also being addressed. In Moorhead, the volunteer group Minnesota Strong right now is working to make sure that meals are provided at the 5 pickup stops currently being used by the district. And in North Dakota, there's talk of trying to get federal regulations loosened to allow for more food to be given out on Fridays that will extend over the weekends. In South Fargo, Mike Morgan, Valley News Live.
For a list of the delivery sites and pickup locations for your school district, go to their websites, or you can find links to Fargo, West Fargo, and Moorhead school districts on our Valley News Live app. The National Congress of American Indians is working with tribes across the country to set up mobile internet hotspots for children to continue their education. The NCAI proposed a $40 million grant to federal lawmakers so online classes could operate for 4 weeks. The University of North Dakota has canceled spring graduation ceremonies. The university also told all students to not return to Grand Forks as they update their response to the coronavirus outbreak. UND interim president Josh Wynn also announced spring classes will be held online through the end of the semester. Students are asked to keep checking their UND email accounts daily for more information. This week, Italy surpassed China for coronavirus deaths, and now many wonder, how do we flatten the curve to stop so many deaths here in America? Tonight, Valley News Team's Lee Zurich looks at the latest numbers globally and talks to a UCLA specialist.
South Korea has flattened the curve. Over the last 2 weeks, the country has limited the number of new cases of coronavirus. Experts say the reason why? Testing.
Do you think if we had more testing here like South Korea, would things be different?
Absolutely. The traditional public health approach is test and treat. So if we had testing available, we would have been testing, we would have been identifying cases, we would have been isolating those cases either at home or if they were sick in the hospital, and we would not have been in this lockdown. One of the problems was our eyes were covered We didn't know where the tests were, and a lot of people were creating panic.
This graph shows the trajectory of positive cases in 3 countries: South Korea, which is in the yellow, Italy in the orange, and the United States in red. When you go from the bottom to the top, that's the number of cases. So the higher you get, the more positive cases of coronavirus. When you go left to right, it's the count of days after 100 cases were confirmed in each country. You can see South Korea, again in the yellow, started to climb, but then clearly flattened that curve. Then look at the trajectory of Italy in the orange, approaching 50,000 positive cases. And then the United States, which right now actually has a sharper curve than Italy. Of note, the population of our country is 5 times greater than Italy. Many Americans have told us stories of struggling to get tested.
I was just kind of shocked, I guess, that it took me 9 days of having symptoms before I was able to go and get tested and get the results back. It just kind of frustrated me that tests weren't available. And I might have put people in harm's way who I interacted with over the past 9 days.
According to numbers from each state, 108,000 Americans have been tested for COVID-19. In South Korea, it's 274,000. When you factor in both countries' population, for the United States to keep pace with the testing in South Korea, that 108,000 would instead need to be 1.7 million tests.
The federal government is zeroing in on companies selling products with unproven claims that they can treat or prevent coronavirus. The FDA and FTC sent 7 letters to 7 different companies, warning them their product descriptions may violate federal law by making deceptive or scientifically unsupported claims. The company's products include teas, essential oils, and colloidal silver.
Please don't take anything, because it's not going to cure you, and you can't take some sort of a pill that will keep you from getting it.
Now, beyond looking at what it calls fraudulent claims, the government is also looking at scams. In an online post, the FTC listed several scams it's seeing, including companies setting up websites to sell bogus products and using fake emails, texts, and social media posts as a way to get your money and your personal information. The Red River Zoo is asking for help as the coronavirus pandemic forces its visitors to stay home. The zoo reached out to members in an email today saying emergency funding is needed to care for the animals in the uncertain months ahead. Without school field trips and events to help generate their revenue, zoo officials say they are uncertain about their future. You can help the zoo by making a donation on their website or by mail. That information is online and on our VNL News app. Matt Bus is offering free rides starting Monday, March 23rd. Today, the company said ending the collection of fares allows drivers to more effectively follow federal health recommendations during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's encouraged that riders board and deboard using the back doors of the bus to help reduce driver contact. Matt Bus has also updated cleaning procedures to include nightly disinfecting of the entire inside of the bus.